Hello friends, welcome to Suresh Agarwal's Reasoning Mantra, and in this video I am going to discuss some very important problems on dice. But before we begin with the problems, let us understand the concept involved. So this is the first part or type 1 questions that are going to be discussed in this video. Wait for type 2 which is going to come up soon, which will have another different set of questions based on a different concept on the topic of dice. So these questions are very important for all type of competitive exams, no matter UPSC, SSC, RBI, banking, or whatever exams you are targeting at. And if you want more content on these reasoning questions or for quantitative aptitude, you can download our app Learning Loop. You can also visit our website sureshagarwal.in for PDFs and video content on these topics. So let us first understand what is a dice. A dice is a cube which has different numbers on all of its faces. We all have played with dice at some stage of our lives. Who has not played Ludo, isn't it? So we all have used dice and we know that there are 6 numbers on the dice, one on either face. Uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So these are all single digit numbers. But when it comes to questions in the competitive exams, the questions that we face are, they ask you to identify what number is present on the opposite side of a particular given number in the dice. Like if you look at this dice, they might ask you, okay, what number do you expect to find on the side that's opposite to 3? So that face of the dice will not be shown here, but you are expected to use your reasoning skills and identify what number is there. So for finding out these numbers, there are certain rules or certain tricks that will help you quickly identify the answer in the exam without wasting any time. So the first rule is two opposite faces of the dice cannot be adjacent to each other. What is the meaning of adjacent? Adjacent means like the faces with touch each other, like 2 and 1. These are adjacent faces because they have this common edge here. 1 and 6, these are adjacent faces because they have a common edge here. But if you look at 1 and the number that is there on the other side, they do not have any common side, so they are said to be the opposite faces. So opposite faces cannot be adjacent. So if you look at these two dice, the faces with the number 4, 3, 6 and 1 are adjacent to the face 2, because if you look at both the dice, you have 2 on top. So 2 has 4 adjacent to it, 2 has 3 adjacent to it, 2 has 6 adjacent to it, and 2 has 1 adjacent to it. So which is the missing number that you expect to be at the lower side of the die? 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't see 5 here. That means the number 5 will lie opposite to the number 2 according to rule number 1. Rule number 2 says that suppose there is a dice. So if one number is common in both the dice, when the surface remains the same, then the remaining surfaces are also opposite to each other. We have just discussed how to identify the number at the base. Now if you look at the same dice now, 4 and 4, both the 4s are there on the top. 3, 5, 1, 2. What does that mean? 3 will be opposite to 1 and 5 will be opposite to 2. That is rule number 2. So that means if the number is common at the top, then the numbers that are adjacent to 4, like the corresponding numbers, they will be opposite to each other. 3 would be opposite to 1 and 5 will be opposite to 2. Rule number 3, if any two numbers are the same in two dices, irrespective of their position on the dice. So if you look at these two dice, 1 and 3, 1 and 3. So there are two common numbers now. Then the third number that is being shown on the die, that is 5 in this and 6 in this, these are going to be opposite to each other. So there are two common numbers and the third number on both the dice will be opposite to each other. That means 5 will be on a face that is opposite to the number 6. Now let us attempt some questions on this. Remember, these are all previous year questions from the SSC exam that I have picked up for you. 3 different positions of the same dice are shown. So we had one dice and we rolled it 3 times to get 3 different positions. You have to find the number on the face opposite to the face having 1. So if you look at this dice carefully, like all the 3 dice, You can't see a number 1 here. So isn't the question tricky? But it is equally easy. So what do you do in such a case? You look for the common number. The common number is 4, 4 and 4. So we can see this number 4 on all the 3 dice. 1, 2 and 3. Now this number 4 will help you find the adjacent faces. So number 4 has 2 adjacent to it. It has 3 adjacent to it. It has 5 adjacent to it. And it has 6 adjacent to it. So which is the missing number that is not present adjacent to 4? So number 1 is missing here. That means number 1 has 4 opposite to it, and that is why the answer is option B, that is the number 4. In the second question, 3 different positions of the same dice are shown. So again, the dice has been rolled 3 times. So it's the same dice which has been like placed at 3 different positions. You have to find the number on the face opposite the face showing 2. What number would you find on the face opposite the face showing 2? So again, we look for the number that is common on all the 3 dice. So I can see a 2 here and a 2 here. Let us find out the numbers adjacent to the number 2. So I can see a 3 here, a 4 here, a 5 here and a 6 here. So all these numbers are adjacent to the number 2. So what number should be on the opposite side then? The number 1 is missing here. So the correct answer should be number 1. So number 1 is the number that is on the opposite side of the number 2. In the third question, 3 different positions of the same dice are shown. Find the number on the face opposite the face showing 3. So now you are looking for what number lies opposite to the face that shows 3. Now, how do you interpret such a question? Again, look for the common number. The common number that I see on all the 3 die here are 2's. So a 2 here, a 2 here and a 2 here. Let us find out what all numbers we find adjacent to the number 2. So for number 2, number 1 is there, number 3 is there. That means 1, 3, then we have 4 and we have a 6. So that means the number 5 is missing. So number 5 lies opposite to the number 2. That means 5 is somewhere below the cube. Then when we look at this, the first die, number 3 is what we see here. So number 3 has number 5 adjacent to it, number 6 adjacent to it, number 4 adjacent to it and number 2 adjacent to it. So which is the missing number that is likely to be present on the opposite side here? It has to be number 1. So that is how you identify the correct answer. I hope you found this video useful. If yes, don't forget to hit the like button and do subscribe to our channel if not done yet. And please don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you get notifications for the upcoming videos. And do stay tuned in for part 2 of problems on dice, where I'll be giving you the concept as well as important previous year questions for practice. So thanks for joining me and see you soon.